Welcome in everybody, my name is Kaycem and I am going to be going over today how to draw the front side of the torso. We'll be going over things like anatomy, all the forms, and we might even do some rendering today as well. So talking about shadows and lighting and all of that stuff. But if it's your first time here, welcome into the Kaycem crew. I am Kaycem, I am a Filipino art streamer here on Twitch and I teach everything from anatomy, gesture, perspective, and all things related to character design. And I also currently work full-time in the animation industry for the studio that made Castlevania. So if you guys are interested, make sure to like, subscribe on YouTube and all of that stuff. And I hope you guys enjoy today's stream. Let's go ahead and talk about the torso today. All right. So let's go ahead and lay out first a general structure for the torso. And then from there, we'll kind of work on adding in all the muscles and all that good stuff. So usually whenever I'm drawing kind of the anatomy and stuff, I'm going to start off first by just kind of laying out a general structure here for the pelvis and the torso. So just kind of like two boxy structures. And again, I've mentioned this a few times, but you don't have to do it like this. You can draw them as cylinders. You can draw them as kind of a round egg-shaped structures. It's really up to you what you're feeling like, and sometimes it depends on the scene too. So I think we've talked about how for male characters, I tend to go for a more boxy structure, mostly because the proportions of the male are pretty squared off. Usually the shoulders are lined up well with the hips and stuff like that. Whereas for female characters, it tends to be a little bit more of like an hourglass shape. And so I'll use different maybe shapes to denote that as well too. But okay, so we have here our general structure for the torso. That's a nice simple box there. All right. And then also let me know, guys, if you guys can hear me okay. Am I good today on the mic and stuff? Because I feel like on my side it's a little quieter, but I don't want to change anything unless I have to. Is it good? Hopefully it's good. But all right, going back in here, one of the first things I like to do is find that center line here. So we're going to find that center line for that torso. And again, today we're going to be focusing primarily on the torso. So don't worry too much about the head and the hips and the arms and stuff. We're going to kind of cut these out, kind of like what we've done here. And we'll talk about those another day. We'll talk about arm anatomy, hands. We'll talk about legs. We'll do all of those things on a different day. So for today, primarily focusing and isolating our study on the torso, I think will be really helpful. And it sounds like I'm doing well. So the audio is good. Cool. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to talk about some of the things we talked about in the previous stream where we kind of broke down all the forms and whatnot. But I'm going to try to go and focus more on the anatomy today more than anything. Now, one of the first things I want to call out here is the general proportions that we're working with, right? So obviously these are general proportions, and so you can change it up and all that stuff, whether you want to go for a more stylized look, a more realistic look, all of that stuff. It's really up to you. And so I would definitely say just, find what's most comfortable to you, what makes the most sense for your style. But it's good to have a general idea of the structure and forms, so that way we can kind of build off from something. Right. And so some of the things that I'm going to call out here are going to be the collarbone, which is going to be that upper portion there of the box. And this is going to be a very important bony landmark. If you guys, you can find your own collarbone here. Well, technically not everyone has a collarbone. There's that one kid from Stranger Things that doesn't have a collarbone. But for the most part, I would assume that a good number of you do have collarbones. You can find it here. And then halfway from there to where the pelvis is going to be where that 10th rib lands. So that 10th rib is going to be that bony protrusion right here on the sides of your body. And then halfway from the collarbone to your 10th rib is usually where the 5th rib lands, and it's usually where the nipples land as well. So these are, again, generalizations, right? And it might not be exactly halfway, but it's close enough that if you zoomed out on a character, people wouldn't notice if it was like an inch or a centimeter away from that halfway mark. But then 10th rib going down to the bottom there of that box is going to be where that pelvis lands. That's going to be something called the ASIS. That's the anterior superior iliac spine. Don't worry too much about that today because we're not focusing yet on the pelvis. We'll be doing pelvis talks later when we cover legs. All right. So anyways, going back over here, so we got here the torso. Now we got all these forms. So let me go ahead and simplify some of these now that we have a general idea of the structure, right? And let me go in here and kind of just find out where I want to place the clavicle. Again, kind of at that halfway mark right here. And then from here, let's just kind of go in and start laying out some of the muscle groups that we're seeing. Now, one of the first ones I want to call out is really going to be, again, this clavicle bone is just so important. I always tell people, if you guys want to get really good at understanding the torso and stuff and how the head connects to the torso, this clavicle bone is probably one of the most important ones to know. If anything, I think it's probably the one to know over some of the other ones. Like the rib cage is good and stuff, but that's like pretty basic. I think the rib cage is kind of just an egg shape. I think the clavicle is really what makes the torso super interesting. Now, the clavicle or the collarbone basically connects over here to a bony protrusion that comes out from the back of the scapula. That's going to be called the acromion process. And as somebody mentioned in the chat, this guy actually has really prominent acromion processes. I don't know if that's the plural for acromion process, but you can kind of see it right here, actually. And what's really important about this is, one, again, this is going to be that landmark of where that clavicle connects to the backside there of the scapula, also known as the shoulder blades. But it's also going to be partially where we're going to be connecting our shoulder muscles to, and also our trap muscles, so the muscles on the back right here, which you'll be seeing that'll help kind of frame the side of the neck there. So it's a pretty nice kind of just muscle group to know, and we're going to be using these first as our general structure as we build out the human torso here. Right now, again, this is going to be a little bit past the beginner friendly intro that we did because we covered that on day 7. So if you guys want the beginner from the beginning kind of thing, I would highly recommend check out day 7 of the bootcamp because that's where we cover all the simplified forms and we talk about the rotation and all of that stuff. So today's a little bit more advanced, but I'm also going to keep it nice and simple by showing you guys the basic shapes. And then from those basic shapes, how do you actually turn those into more complex forms? Which actually reminds me, I just remembered, if you guys go to my Discord channel and you're watching live right now, you can actually go ahead and grab today's worksheet. So if you guys want to follow along on today's stream, you can download this sheet over here. Then you can actually go here, grab day 7's worksheet as well, so you can grab the notes from this stream. And then I'm also giving you guys this cheat sheet here on the torso here, the upper body torso, which will cover everything from the skeletal anatomy to the muscular anatomy of the upper body, as well as some of that simplification I was telling you guys about earlier. All right, so grab those sheets. They're available to grab for free, but only when I'm live streaming on Twitch. So if I'm not live, you're not going to see it. All right, so just keep that in mind. All right. But let me go back here. All right, so I'm gonna speed it up a little bit now, right? So let's kind of go down this way here. Let's go find that rib cage section here. We'll kind of lay out the sternum. Now, keep in mind here, I'm not gonna get into too much detail of the anatomy. I don't want to. I mean, maybe we could, but I don't want to go too far in unless you guys want me to go over like all the skeletal anatomy and stuff. I think today I just want to go over more of the general forms, and then you guys can, take it further if you want to. If you want to, grab more of the resources and practice those things. So usually the sternum right here is going to land at about that 5th rib. Kind of think of it as like a bow tie area right there. And then we're going to go down here. And then I like to kind of find maybe that arch here of the arch there of the sternum, right? And hey, welcome in everybody who's coming in today. Yes, if you guys are new here, by the way, welcome in. I teach art here on Twitch, so That's if you guys are looking for some free education and whatnot, this is definitely gonna be that stream for that. But okay, I'm just gonna give you guys a rough gesture. All right, a rough gesture of the anatomical forms, including stuff like the rib cage. So you can imagine the rib cage kind of looks like this, right? Kind of like an egg shape. It tapers out here from the outer portion there of the, or sorry, it tapers from the top portion there of the head, and then it kind of works its way down into this egg shape. And then I like to kind of just round it over here to the 10th rib. There's actually a few more ribs down below, but don't worry too much about that. It's like right here. There's like the 11th and 12th set of ribs are down here, but don't worry again about that because those are not actually going to be showing all too much. The only time I would say to worry about those 11th and 12th ribs are maybe when you are drawing a skeleton creature, right? And you want to be anatomically correct, then yeah, sure. You'll probably want to know those ribs. But otherwise, I think those two are not going to be shown on visibly on the skin, so don't worry too much. All right. The rib cage does face forward a little bit here as it gets to the top, and then we'll worry about the pelvis another day, so I'm going to keep that one nice and simple. All right, but that's going to be the general structure of the torso on the front side, right? So there's going to be the clavicle and there's going to be the rib cage. So that's going to be kind of the two main components there. Oh, the art category thing came out. Sad. I guess I didn't make it. Who's in the list? I'd love to know. It's okay. I didn't really promote it super hard, so I knew it wasn't going to be me, but sometimes it's like that. But now let's kind of go in here and let's lay out the actual anatomy of the front side here. Now we've talked about the neck pretty extensively, right? So we have here the sternocleidomastoid. It's always hard to say, but that one's going to basically be a connection here from the side of the ear as it kind of goes down, and then it fans out to the front side here, the clavicle. And then it also actually connects to the other portion of the clavicle right here. So this upper kind of portion here basically creates that that anatomy of the neck, right? All right. As we kind of go here, we're going to fan this one out a little bit. And then from there, let's go in and here on the, I'm kind of gonna gloss over these mostly just because these are gonna be just the back side of the anatomy and also the neck, so I'm not gonna worry too much about them. But these are gonna be the trap muscles, and those are actually gonna connect over here on the latter, kind of like latter fourth, latter third of the traps. All right, so far not too crazy, I would say. Hopefully not. Diariku. Okay, so I think Diariku is a VTuber. Meat Canyon is a YouTuber. I think Rubber Ross is also a YouTuber, and I don't know who Neon Beat is. That's cool. It's cool. We'll get him another day, guys. Another year. We'll try our luck again. Next year, we'll get him. Don't even worry. But now let's go ahead here and going back to the art here. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to lay out the pectoral muscles. Now, here's what we're going to do for the pectorals. Okay. Actually, before then, let's talk about the arms. I'm going to simplify the arms really quick. But the arms are kind of cool because it's basically here going to be the deltoid muscle, which is going to connect again to the clavicle. We have here some connections to the acromion process, and then the arms the deltoids kind of taper into here. And then you have an overlap there from the pecs, the arms, and so forth. So, but again, I'm going to just chop this one out because I'm not worried too much about the arms today. Okay. Cool. Thanks, guys. Kaycem all the way. Let's go. Yeah, we'll get him another year. And I think it was I only found out about it maybe like 3 days before. So it's all right. But okay, moving over here now to the pectoral muscles. Now, what's really cool about the pecs are that one, the pec muscles are actually going to be connecting to, I would say, about the 2/3 here of the clavicle, 2/3 of the 2/3 there of the collarbone. It's also going to connect here to the sternum, and then from there it's going to fan out and then insert into the humerus bone here. So that kind of that bicep underneath, or sorry, on top of the bicep, I should say, not underneath the bicep. And so the way that that's going to look like is it's actually going to fan out. So I usually do it like this. So kind of that first connection here at the start of the clavicle, it's going to go down. Then you're going to have that halfway mark going in here as well. And then you're going to have this portion right here. And then you'll have this smaller portion of the pectorals kind of like right here. And so that's kind of the general structure. And again, these are going to insert into the arm there and kind of wrap around that upper humerus bone, and it's going to create a fan-like shape. You don't got to worry too much. Don't worry too much about all that for now. Let's see here. Hey, welcome in, everybody. Anatomy proportions is hard, also different poses. Yeah, so again, this is why I always tell people, before you jump into doing anatomy, focus on understanding the general shapes first, right? Because if you want to get into doing all of this stuff with the anatomy, and you want to do them in different poses and do all that stuff, it's actually much better to understand the simplified shapes first, like these here that we've done, and then be able to understand how the anatomy inserts into these shapes, inserts into these components, and then be able to, you know, do all that. By the way, did the ad break happen? I feel like I think that thing is bugging. Oh, actually no, there's an ad. Okay, never mind. Hold on, the ad's about to start. All right, guys. I do run ads on my stream every hour. One's gonna be running right about now. So if you do get an ad, thank you again. They help keep my streams monetarily viable, allow me to do what I'm doing out here on Twitch. But if you don't want to see any ads, consider subscribing or using a Prime sub. But either way, thank you for your support, and I hope to see you guys after the ad break. There you go. I was like, I have a little ad thing that tells me when the ads are supposed to happen. Oh, thanks for the sub. Appreciate that. Oh, damn. Thanks for the Prime sub, Vexasi. Swerving these ads. Appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Also, if you guys didn't know, everybody who is subscribed to my stream also gets access to the videos from last year, as well as all the current bootcamp resources. So not only do you get to avoid ads and all that cool stuff, but you also get some of the educational perks, which I used to have on my Patreon, and I moved them all here. You don't get to watch the streams. I'm sorry, Spinko. That's why, guys, I got a YouTube channel out here. So if you guys do miss the streams and stuff, I'll be uploading everything over to YouTube. I upload about 3 to 4 videos a week. So it's a lot of videos. So if you ever feel like, oh man, I'm missing the streams, don't worry. The YouTube channel has got you covered. And shout out to those of you who are watching the video right now in the future from YouTube when this becomes a video over there. You guys are dope. But okay, let's go in here now. Going back now to the... I'll wait a little bit. I'll kind of lay this one out here with you guys, and then when the ad break is over, I'll talk about the lower portion there of the torso. Thanks, Trimmer. But also, you know, you don't have to go out of your way if it's too much work. How do you verify a sub on Discord? Yeah, go to your settings, connections, and connect to Twitch. Thank you. Appreciate that, Rabbit. But yeah, hopefully you guys are doing well today. All right, so let's go ahead here, and I'm going to lay out now. This portion here is going to be called the serratus muscles. All right, so the serratus muscles are really cool because basically the serratus muscles are going to insert into the sides there of the rib cage, and I'll show you what that looks like in a bit. But you're going to be seeing it on both sides. They're going to originate from the back of the scapula, the back of the shoulder blades, and then they're going to wrap around the sides of the rib cage there. And also it'll kind of help create a little bit of that volume on the side of your torso, along with the lat muscles in the back there. And also ET, hey, welcome back in too. But I'll show you guys really quick what I mean. Let's go over here. This one I think is a good one. So right here, you can kind of see this is the serratus muscles. Again, these are going to wrap around from the back side of the scapula there. They're going to kind of connect here to the rib cage in kind of this fan-like structure. And then they're going to kind of interweave with the oblique muscles, and that'll create that zigzag pattern that you'll sometimes see in muscular people. So, we'll be doing that right now for this one here. And one of the easiest things I like to do to find where the serratus arch is going to be is I go and look for the clavicle section there. And I imagine wrapping around diagonally here like this, across that rib cage, imagining there was a volume there for that rib cage. And then from there, we can kind of go in and let's start adding in some of the details. Thank you for the follows, Void, Paragon, and also Soul Princess, and everybody who's here right now. Welcome into the Kaycem crew. If it's your first time here, by the way, guys, my name is Kaycem. I am a Filipino art streamer here on Twitch, and I teach everything from anatomy, gestures, perspective, and all things related to character design. And I also currently work full-time in the animation industry for the studio that made Castlevania. Currently right now, I'm also prepping to work as a character designer for shows like Castlevania, Legend of Korra, and Invincible. So if you guys are interested in some free art education, you guys like my dog who is sleeping over there, or you're just looking to hang out for at a stream and stuff, do leave a follow, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's content. All right, but before we actually talk about the side muscles here, let me go ahead and kind of lay out where we want the general placement for the abdominal muscles. All right, thank you for quenching my thirst. Oh no, I forgot to boil my water. My boiler wasn't on. Oh shoot, I think somebody unplugged it yesterday. I'm drinking cold tea. Damn. That's actually an L. F's in the chat, guys. That's an F in the chat. No. This is the cold tea that you don't want to be cold. Damn, that's actually an F. I can't believe it. It happened to me. Thank you for all the follows today. So Mint, Danny, and SN Monk 699. Welcome in, everybody. What flavor is it? It's Echinacea tea or something like that. Thank you, Adel Mars. Appreciate the kind words. And I'm Arrow Hunter and everybody else who's coming in here. That's a look of pure disgust. Yeah, dude, it's rough. Oh man, that's okay. It's all good. It's not the worst thing ever, honestly. But anyways, going back here, before we talk about the sides there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to kind of draw the abdominal muscles, aka the abs, that six-pack and all of that stuff. And the first thing that I like to do is I actually like to just find here from that fifth rib. So again, this is going back to that fifth rib section that we talked about here. I like to kind of just go in first, lay out a tapering from that fifth rib section. You can imagine it kind of going all the way down here for the abdominals. And sometimes what I like to do is I like to kind of find where those nipples are. Maybe like right here. Okay. And then from those nipples, kind of use that as kind of an arching point to find the tapering there of the abdominals. All right. Also, guys, let me know if I'm going too fast today. If I'm giving you guys too much info, I can either slow it down or simplify things. I wanted to give you guys at least one rundown of a very kind of technical breakdown for the torso, and then from there, on this one, we'll do something more simple, more chill. All right. Also, let me know if I'm going too slow. If you guys want me to go faster, we can go faster as well. I can give you guys the speed run tutorial series on drawing anatomy and stuff. All right, so let me know in the chat. But anyways, going back in here, so let's talk about how to figure out the six-pack. All right, so what's really cool about the six-pack is basically from that 10th rib that we've already laid out here. What I like to do is I like to kind of find where I want that second set of abs to be. So maybe like right here is where we want them to land. And then from there, I'm going to go from the top of where we had that sternum. All right. So this is going to be kind of like right there. And then we're going to go halfway from basically that portion. And that's where we're going to have that first set of abs. All right. So it always has some landing points here. So again, my landing point here is going to be that second set right here is where that 10th rib starts. It can sometimes be lower. It can sometimes be higher. It really depends on the character, the anatomy, and all that stuff. So different characters will have slightly different structures. But from there, I'm going to go down halfway, kind of roughly where that belly button is going to land, right about here. Let's make that belly button go this way. And then that's going to be where that third set of abs are going to land. Okay, so I'm keeping it nice and simple as a grid so far, but I'll add all the details and stuff in a bit. But you can imagine right there, this is going to be the 40-ounce section, which is going to just kind of the lower obliques that are going to, or sorry, the lower abdominals that are going to kind of wrap around here for the pelvis. All right. So with that being said, now we can go in here and actually start laying out the six-pack and stuff that you guys are maybe familiar with. Where can I find the resources that you were talking about earlier? Those are going to be on my Discord channel. So just hop over to the Discord channel and you'll be able to find them under the art resources. So I also have commands on my stream, so you can use these commands to help you out. Bootcamp and resources. There you go. One time I forgot to put tea in my tea drink. I have a dark brown cup, so I was drinking lemon in hot water beverage. I mean, that's pretty good though. I do that sometimes. I feel like lemon is great. You slap some lemon on your water and it's just like, it feels so bougie. Bourgeois. Anyways. So we're going to kind of go in here for the abs, and it really depends on how you want to structure the abs. Again, some characters will have more defined abs, some might not. What I like to do is I like to kind of double up on the lines here, because there usually is a gap between each set of abs. There's kind of a, as the muscles wrap in here and kind of create and have separations. I think the separations are called tendons. Are those the tendons or ligaments? I always forget, but there are separations between each muscle group, and those separations is what basically creates that abdominal, that ab look that you might be familiar with, right? So we're gonna go in here and I'm gonna kind of just open up kind of that midsection, finding those lines that we have, and then from there we're gonna go in and I'm just gonna kind of lay out a few more of the abs, right? Breaking out those sections there, and then I'll talk about how these groups actually work together with the serratus muscles that we talked about earlier and those oblique muscles on the sides. Okay, you can kind of imagine kind of a zigzaggy pattern there. And now let's go in on the side again. Now we can talk about the obliques and the serratus, now that we've established the structure here for the abdominals. All right, but hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully the abs, now that you see it and kind of see the logic there, hopefully it makes it a little bit easier to draw abs. I think abs are still difficult in general, but you know, makes it a little bit easier. And one of the things you can do to make your abs look a little bit more appealing as well is to kind of work in here the oblique muscles on the side. Now, the obliques are interesting because there are basically two sections to the oblique muscles. These are going to be the muscles on the side of your body here, which again line in between the rib cage, connect to the abs, and also connect to the pelvis. And it's kind of that chunky section there. So there's going to be two sections to the obliques. Okay, you have the lower section there, which is called the flank side of the obliques, and then you have here the thoracic portion. Now again, don't worry too much about all the terms and stuff if that's like maybe a little bit more advanced. Just focus on how there's two sections there. The lower half is going to be more, it's a little bit more chunky, kind of this section right here, and then you have that upper section right here, which is going to be what's inserting in between the abdominals and the serratus muscles. All right. So, you know, this one you can stylize. I think I've seen a lot of artists, you know, stylize this section right here. They kind of go in, you know, you can have fun with this for sure. So I'm going to go in here, maybe add a few kind of lines, you know, breaking it up now and adding it and inserting it into the abdominals that we have right here. Right. And then that's going to interlock again between kind of these digits of the obliques with the abdominals now. And that's going to create again that zigzag pattern that we've mentioned, earlier. But there you go. And then from there, we're going to kind of wrap it out now and simplify and kind of merge those last couple sections there. And not every line has to be drawn. So again, you don't have to, just because we're doing an anatomy tutorial and you want to make a character look and feel anatomical, you don't have to draw every line. So I usually kind of just soften some of the lines out, erase a few things, simplify them, and so forth. So it's really up to your preference what you want to denote for your design of your character. Well, let's go in here and let's kind of wrap out now with that lower portion of the obliques right here. So we're going to kind of taper that in, and there you go. Easy peasy. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it on the other side here. I'm going to move some things around, and I think we've pretty much covered the upper body torso anatomy here, right? Again, this is more of like a diagram drawing. So I'll show you guys, maybe we'll render this one out a little bit so that way it's a little bit more aesthetic and less looking more like an anatomical illustration. Okay. Yeah, so I'll do this side really quick. Give me a sec. And also, if you guys have any questions about whether what we're doing here, maybe you didn't understand something, or you just have general questions for me, feel free to ask it in the chat. I always try to keep my streams conversational and pretty light out here. Even though we cover kind of these more technical topics. And for those of you wondering like where I learned a lot of these things from, it's a combination of things that I've either self-taught, things I've read in books, classes I've taken, and so forth. And so if you're wondering like where this is from, basically the stuff I cover is what you'll learn from paying for an art class or an art school, though it's a little simplified and a little bit, on the free side. Though there are a lot of good resources online, I would say, for learning stuff like anatomy. So, plenty of options to work with. Can we download your XP to help level up ourselves? If only it was that easy, right? If only it was that easy to just be like, hey, I kind of want to, let me just download all of Kim Jong-Yee's decades of experience real quick, just to know what it feels like to be a pro artist, just to have a taste of success. And I think that's honestly what the big appeal is for AI art. Is a lot of people, you get that kind of brief hit of dopamine because you can make stuff that looks like an artist that you like, and you can, in some ways maybe argue that you had some input into that. I think, and people are wondering in terms of my thoughts on AI, I usually tell people I think it has potential, but in its current state right now, it's definitely not something that I am backing. Maybe in the future, it'll hopefully get a little bit more regulated, more ethically created, and all that goodness, and then we as artists can use it, right? But yeah. This bootcamp, it'll be uploaded to YouTube channel or something. Yep. Actually, you guys can check out my YouTube channel right now. I've been uploading a bunch of videos on there, a bunch of tutorial full-length videos. Shout out to everyone who's been supporting, by the way, over on YouTube. You guys are incredible out there. Super dope. We've been growing. I've been growing like crazy. I've probably been growing so much. I've been growing more this past month on YouTube than I have in the past like 2 years of trying to do YouTube. And I think a lot of it is just I don't know. I honestly don't know what the big difference is. I think it's because I'm just uploading more of my content over there from Twitch, and I think that's been helpful. So shout out to you guys. Who knows where we'll be on YouTube after, like, by the end of this year. I think it'll be exciting to see, honestly. Thank you for the follow, GG Fiesta. Thank you for the Prime sub as well. Ooh, Upaku illustrations. Let's see. In the case of the torso in perspective, more forward than the hip, how should it be applied? How much more in perspective are you talking about? Because I would say the general idea should still be the same. Again, you have to think of these things as insertions in the body and not as just like stickers that you put on top of a box, right? So what I mean by that is basically, let me go ahead and draw this one out real quick. But what I mean by that is if you can draw out those simple shapes that I mentioned to you guys earlier, things like the box, these boxy structures, right? If you can do that in perspective, then I think you'll be able to draw all of this. So I think that's the first step, right? If you can draw a box in perspective, like let's say you have this shot like this, right? Where you have like maybe the pelvis tilting a little bit down and so forth, right? Some cool, like dynamic, crazy shot like this. All right. If you can do this, you've basically done half the battle already, because from here, all you need to do now is say, okay, cool. Halfway from here to here in perspective, that's going to be the 5th rib. This is going to be that 10th rib right here. Let's go ahead and find that arch here of the rib cage. Let's go find that clavicle section right here. Bring that back here like so, right? This is going to be the acromion process on this side like that. Bringing that down here, you got here the torso, and you got here the pectoral muscles. Those are going to insert upward like so. And so again, it all is a matter of understanding the perspective first and understanding the basic forms. And then once you're from there, okay, cool. Let's go find that halfway mark now for the abdominals, right? You can kind of see how I'm building up that structure piece by piece, going in here. And then we're going to kind of add in the zigzag patterns that we talked about, right? Maybe we'll go like this. Right. And then from there, you have you have the arms and all of that stuff. And so I think it's all about understanding those basic forms first. And then from there, you'll be able to kind of start building out the structure that you talked about. That crazy perspective. Also, hey, DJ, welcome back in. Yes, I agree with that, Valke, about the AI comment there. Long form content is making a comeback, especially for niche sectors like art, animation, music, gaming, etc. I hope so, because that's all I do. I only do long form content now on YouTube, and so I do genuinely hope that you guys are enjoying that. I used to worry about like, oh man, I don't want to put my VODs on YouTube because I feel like it's so long. Who's going to want to watch a 3-hour video and, all of that stuff? But I realized that one of the nice things about YouTube is that, one, people can leave comments on there or questions. People can also pause the video however they like, rewatch it. And I think also, surprisingly, that there are actually people who enjoy long form content. Like, how many of you guys in the chat enjoy watching, those longer videos on YouTube? Out of curiosity. And wow, thank you for all. Whoa. All right, wait a minute. Are y'all bots? This is so many follows just now. Hello? Fallen Neb, IUU. We got here Oblique Painting, Chomu Bossan now. Yo, wait, that's a lot of follows. What the heck? How do you know how big to make the basic shape? So we've talked about that too, right? So again, these basic shapes right here, I will show you guys right now. This is the simplest thing you could do for understanding the torso. Take again the clavicle here. Watch this. Ready? Let me lower the opacity here so you guys can see. Watch this. Pay attention. Pause the music. Watch this. Easiest technique you can do for understanding how to draw the torso. Simple. Okay. 3, 2, 1. You go in here. All right. You're going to line up that torso right there, that clavicle. Again, you're going to line up here, the 10th rib right here. Okay. So what do you have? You have basically a box-like structure for that clavicle and that 10th rib. Again, this is like a square, a nice simple square. You're going to take that square, watch this, tilt it a little bit for the pelvis. And what do you have now? You have here the line of the bottom of the pelvis, because again, this is just crotch fat and all that stuff. All right, we're not gonna worry about that too much. But the bottom there of the pelvis, the bottom there, that pelvic bone is gonna be from here to here. So all you got to do, draw 2 squares, right? From that halfway mark right here, what do we have? The lining here, that 5th rib and the nipples. If you go halfway here, what do we basically have? Roughly, we have here the pelvis going this way. Obviously, you got to add a little bit of tilt and stuff. But now what you have here, take a look at that. The torso. So it's basically going to be 2 squares, right? So 2 cubes here, not 2 cubes, but 2 rectangular shapes there. Halfway mark here for the pelvis. Halfway mark here for the 5th rib. And that's basically this diagram right here. So again, if you can draw that, right? All you got to do is this. I'll show you. I have a cheat sheet for this. If you can draw that, then basically you can go in here, make it a little bit more complex. You can even make it more circular if you want it to be more of an egg-shaped form. You can tilt it however you like. You can make it look down, look up, all of that stuff there. And there you go. Again, I always tell you guys, don't worry about the anatomy. The anatomy is all the complex stuff, all right? First, learn and understand the basic shapes, the basic volumes, because if you can do that, I'm going to tell you right now, that's like 90% of the struggle of learning how to draw the human body. Those basic shapes, okay? But there you go. Sheesh. Okay. Hopefully that answered your question. People in the YouTube channel, they probably can't even hear that Avengers music we just played because of copyright. But thank you for all the follows again. So many follows today. Cross Blues, Pog Damon, Kello-san, and everybody who's here right now. Okay. Yeah, did that make sense? Let me know in the chat. I know someone earlier had the question about that. Let me know if that made any sense. Okay. Do you guys want me to do rendering today, or do you guys want me to just draw the other character? Like, what are you guys feeling today? Because I know earlier I showed you guys rendering. I showed you guys something I was working on for my Draw It in Your Style. Do you guys want to do some rendering today, or are you guys kind of just move on? Let's go draw the female character instead. I mean, we're definitely gonna do the other girl too. Hey, what is all this? Oh shoot, hold on. Boop. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, your eyes, again, that's a good point, right? Your eyes might be used to seeing things as 2D flat objects. So my goal here, guys, is to help you awaken awaken your 3D eye, not your third eye. All right, I don't know too much about third eyes and all of that stuff. I'm here to help you guys awaken your 3D eye. Okay, your 3D eye. That's what I'm here for. Not the third eye. I honestly don't know what that means, to awaken your third eye. Your third eye is blind. Some of y'all keeping them closed. Yeah, for sure. Thank you for the follow, Oxoff, Betox, and Kello-san. Kaycem, what about landmarks on the body that you're looking for? Great question. So let me actually highlight those because I'll talk about them right now. What is this? So the landmarks that I'm looking for in the body, and actually while I talk about that, I'm gonna do a quick poll for you guys so you guys can vote. If you guys would rather, and again, we're gonna be drawing the female character, or the female reference today too. But I want to see if you guys want me to do some rendering today. Render male body, render as in we're gonna paint, so render/paint, or just female torso. All right, so you guys can vote, and in the meantime I'll talk about the landmarks of the body and stuff as well, while you guys do that little poll there. Will I teach you how to draw furries one day? I might teach you guys how to draw animals. Okay, what you guys decide to do with those skills is completely up to you. All right, it's like I teach you guys the way of the sword. Okay, what you do with the sword, whether you use it for good or for evil or for justice or for making money selling furries, that's completely up to you. All right, I just teach the skills. Okay. Up to you guys. All right, but anyways, landmarks. So again, a couple of the landmarks I look for is a chromium process right here, that clavicle right here, so that lining right here, the clavicle, Other landmarks I'm looking for are going to be that 10th rib right here, if it's visible. Other things I'm looking for are going to be the iliac crest of the spine right here. And notice how I'm focusing primarily on the skeletal landmarks, right? I'm not focusing on the muscle groups and stuff because different bodies will have different muscle variations. You'll also have body fat too. So if you guys are curious, by the way, on my last stream, day 7, we actually talked about body fat distribution and where you're going to be seeing a large majority of body fat, both on males and females, because you'd actually be surprised that females have different body fat distributions than males do. Meaning, as you increase the body fat percentage, it'll actually look different for men than it will for women. All right. So just an interesting fun fact there. But anyways, these are going to be the general landmarks in the front side of the body that I'm looking for. Other things I'm looking for too is that sternum right here. So those are going to be these are going to be the kind of general landmarks I'm looking for. And they're mostly going to be skeletal there. All right. Let's see here. Do you keep your Twitch videos up? I have them. I do, but they're also available on YouTube. So the YouTube ones are more permanent. So if you guys want to see the more permanent videos and stuff, those are going to be on my YouTube channel. All right. So highly recommend you guys go over there. We got a super dope community. You guys always leave funny comments on my videos. There you go. Hopefully that makes sense. Most human artists are going to keep it to what they know. Yeah, I would say, again, you don't have to go too crazy with the anatomy, right? When looking at a body with no background, what's the easiest way to find the horizon line? Pay attention to how much of the neck portion and this kind of neck girdle portion you see. Pay attention to the tilting of the hips. And those will generally give you an idea of the perspective. The other tricky thing too, though, to keep in mind is that at the end of the day, the human body can bend and twist and stuff. So even if with all of those things being said, it could just be that the character is in form. So here's an example of what I mean. So out of curiosity, if you guys are interested, this is my most recent draw it in your style that I'm still working on. I'm still rendering this one out, so it'll probably take me at least a few more days to finish rendering out the helmets and all that stuff. But with this one right here, notice how the character is kind of leaning forward and stuff. And so the perspective itself is kind of, I mean, I know where it is, but it might be hard to tell at first glance. But but things that you can do is you can look for example, how much of this plane do you see here, right? How much of this plane do you see here? Do you see this portion here? So stuff like that is what I can what I look for oftentimes when I'm trying to do something like that that's complex in perspective. Yes, we do talk about negative shapes, and we'll probably talk about that for silhouette design, but that's actually in my cheat sheet. I'll show you guys in a bit. But yeah, we changed it up a little bit, mostly because I wanted to give him an orange background like this, and so I wanted to complement the orange background with a blue puffer, but it's still giving off Marty McFly vibes. I think the outfit is still Marty McFly, just a little different. But yeah, this is kind of what we're working on right now. You can kind of zoom in and see how much I've rendered. The rendering is so much. But yeah, we've been working on this one, chipping away slowly. This is kind of what we started off with, and I've been slowly building up here the anatomy and the forms and all the render. But anyways, let me go back in here to let's go back over here, and I think the question you had was about the negative shapes, right? So I would actually say this cheat sheet here is, no, maybe not this one. I think this one right here, I actually talk about negative space and overlap and stuff, and kind of the overall silhouette, and how silhouettes and negative shapes can actually give more visibility. So So what I would say is download this sheet if you haven't yet, and we talk a bit about that, but we can talk a bit about it too when we get to the more complex stuff, like actually posing our characters and whatnot, because I feel like which I feel like is going to be most important when you're posing your characters, like stuff like negative space and all that stuff. All right, cool. But anyways, let me go ahead and just kind of fill this one out with a quick little gray color here, and then we'll move on. All right. Yeah, that's a good question. I think negative space can also be good if you're like studying a reference and you're trying to want to, you know, like maybe you want to try to get the essence of a pose or a shot or a composition. I think those are good to those are good to look for. The trousers felt soft. Oh, yeah, I wanted to go for like more of like a softer jeans look and stuff. I have to still add a few more textures on it to give it more of that jean look, but yeah. Oh, thank you for the sub, Kalu Kanzi. Appreciate that. Oh, whoa. DJ, thank you for the five gifted. Sheesh, congratulations to Squall Noir, Altair Poker, Black Tea Leaves, Kachan Kitty, and Astroberto. And also thank you for helping me hit that sub goal, which means I'll actually give you guys that sheet that I just showed you earlier, so that way everybody can grab it on the Discord channel today. So this sheet right here, the one that you guys just saw, I'll be posting this one on the Discord channel, so make sure you grab this one, guys. If you didn't know, on my streams, whenever I'm live here on Twitch, you guys can always grab some free resources. You know, grab them while they're hot, but they will be gone at the end of my stream, so make sure you grab them now, because you might forget, and then by the time you remember, I'm not streaming anymore. So go ahead, grab this one here. This one covers the negative space silhouette stuff. We talk about cross contours, foreshortening, and all of that goodness. All right. Speaking of which, how many of you guys in the chat, put an F in the chat if you struggle with the F word, foreshortening? Put an F in the chat. Let me see them real quick. Let me see it in the chat. Put an F in there. Dan, thank you for all the follows today. Sheesh, Apple Shavings, Sahe, and everybody else coming in here. Yeah, if you guys struggle with foreshortening, I think that sheet will be very helpful to you guys. At least I hope so. Alrighty, let's go into drawing the female character now. A lot of you guys were voting for this one, so as I say less. Let's get into it. All right, we'll draw the female one here. No, this one will be less about anatomy and more just about capturing the overall shapes. And so I'll show you guys how I kind of draw out the torso here. If I'm not using, you know, all the boxes and stuff, because I don't normally do that whenever I'm drawing. Usually I keep it nice and simple. And then, you know, I leverage my understanding of anatomy to hopefully give me a little bit a better idea of how I want to take it. So yeah. Nice. That's super awesome, Pirate Jack. Keep it up. There's so much more to learn with digital art. I feel like with digital art, it's always difficult to learn everything because there's always new features that get added in, you know, new bells and whistles every month, every year. Programs always update and stuff. And so even when you think you've mastered Photoshop and CSP and all the digital programs, they always add some new stuff. Like I think Procreate has added so many new things now that I don't even know about, and it's just like, bro, what's going on, you know? But all right, let's go ahead and we'll kind of utilize the same technique. So I guess I will talk about them. I will talk about the basic shapes and stuff, only because I know that you guys are probably would want me to go over some of the basic shapes and all of that. So let me go ahead and lay out here kind of just the torso for this girl here, and then I'll talk about how I kind of shape this one up a little bit more. All right. So right now, all I'm really doing is I'm kind of finding that outline here for the hips, you know, just finding those shapes. And I'm not focused too much on all the crazy details here that I'm seeing. I'm just going to keep it nice and simple, right? A nice arch there for the hips, the backside, maybe a little bit of an arch right here for the volume. And we're just keeping that shape nice and simple, not too complicated. Thank you for the gifted sub, Mr. Fire. Mr. Z Fire. Sheesh. Appreciate that. If you did get gifted subs today, make sure to connect your Twitch account to Discord, by the way, because if you don't, you're missing out on all the resources that I have here on Twitch. You'll get access to the bootcamp, and also there's some other resources as well that you'll get access to. So if you got gifted a sub today, don't miss out on all those resources. Okay, they're available to all my subscribers because I don't have a Patreon. And so Twitch subs are basically my Patreon. And hey, welcome in everybody. Tylen, Alexis Strength, Eric's Diego, Teo Optics. Hold on. Can I just take a quick second here to pause, because there's a lot of you who's following me right now. And also a lot of you who subscribe. I didn't even realize we had a hype train. When did this happen? But there's a lot of you following me right now. And look, I appreciate it. I really do. But I'm also a little suspicious today. Another one, Planet Ducky. I'm a little suspicious. I don't know if you guys are bots, okay? Because there's a lot of you who've been following me the past like 5 minutes. Like at least maybe 15, 20 of you guys just followed me. So what I want to do, another follow from Slappy Netero. Is that Hunter? We're gonna do a quick bot check, okay? If I get another follow right now, dude, I'm sussing. I'm watching out here because one of you might be sus. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I want you guys to type here, I'm a bot. Everybody in the chat type, I'm a bot, and the last person to type, I'm a bot in the chat might actually just be a bot. Now, the reason why I do this, guys, is because statistically speaking, okay, one out of every 3 follows I get, you might just be a bot. But also, a real bot would not be able to type I'm a bot because it's against their code. You get what I'm saying? A real bot could never type the words I'm a bot. Instead, what do they say? I'm not a bot. So it's kind of obvious. You can tell right away. All right, so let me go ahead. Let me just screenshot all of this. All right, let me just scroll through here. Yep, I'm a bot. I'm a bot. Yep. Also, hey, KSD, I was watching your stream the other day. I'm a bot. Yep. Okay, perfect. All right, guys, let me just, I'm going to go ahead and screenshot all of this. I'm going to send this over to Twitch staff. Expect an email in a few days about your account getting suspended for bot activity. Let's go. Oh, damn, that was easy claps. We cleaning up the Twitch platform today. It's that kind of day. Now, I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding, by the way. Thank you, everybody who's coming in here, even if you are a bot, by the way. I appreciate you guys hanging out here. All right, we respect and value all types of viewers on my stream. There was a message earlier from Tayo Optics. Name's Ty. I love animation and character drawing, especially for anime. I'm a complete beginner, have just started my drawing journey. Nice, welcome in. I think you might be in the right place. Fun fact, if you guys didn't know, I actually work in the animation industry. Right now, I work for the studio that made Castlevania, and I'm also prepping to work as a character designer for shows like Castlevania, Legend of Korra, and Invincible. So a lot of the tips and stuff that I give you guys in relation to character design are actually geared towards animation, though you don't have to be interested in animation to get value out of the character design tips that I cover. Because again, I think that these are just general fundamentals that are applicable to whether you want to do animation, games, feature films, and so forth, right? So, yeah. But anyways, let's get back into here. Thank you again. I just had to pause because we were getting so many follows today, and I was a little concerned, okay? I was like, are these real followers today, or are these bot followers? Like, yo, what the, like, what's going on with Twitch today? Like, how did you guys did you guys find my stream? You work for the studio right now? Yes, I do. I do work for the studio right now, and I actually need to go work today. Yeah, I do. I basically work for like 12 hours a day. So I stream on Twitch from like 7 to 11, something like that, or 8 to 11, and then I go to work from like 11 to 7 ish. But yeah, work has been good, by the way, for those of you who are curious. I wrapped up a big scene that I was working on, a big animation scene I was working on. My first one, which I was very happy about, and I'm excited to see. They keep giving me hard ones, and I'm like internally crying, but but it's okay. And also, hey Snow, welcome back in. Also, I do such a bad job of shouting people out, but let me shout out KSD, a streamer you guys can check out, and also let me shout out Snow as well, another fellow art streamer too. So many awesome streamers out here who are watching the streams. I appreciate you guys coming out here always. It's always it's cool when I have, you know, like my art viewers who watch me and stuff, but it's cool to also have like streamers watch me and know that my content is reasonably entertaining enough for for my streamer buds out here. Yeah, I apologize for not shouting you guys out. I don't know. Sometimes I actually think I have ADHD and I got like 30 things going on in my back of my head. So, Kaycem, how to make sure you're not a bot? Take off the face mask and show your bot face? No, I can't. I want you guys to know the truth. I used to be a software engineer. That's what I always tell you guys. But what if I told you that I'm actually still a software engineer? And what you guys are seeing right now is the AI generated VTuber model that I've made. You've ever heard of what's her name? Code Miko or whatever on Twitch? They call me Code Kaycem. All right, this is it, guys. I'm sorry to break it to you. You guys have been watching a VTuber this whole time. I know. People were like, Kaycem, I like how your streams are different. You know, there's so many VTubers out here. I like how I get to see a real person. It's like I'm a VTuber too. No, I'm kidding. I'm not. Thank you for the subs, by the way, Millennial, and thank you for the follows, guys. Appreciate it. How did you find the horizon line on that girl? I thought the top plane, the pelvis box, was visible. It is purely for fun. Again, you don't have to. I always tell people, like, you don't have to follow the reference exactly. So here I'm tilting. Actually, you know what I should do? I should probably actually tilt her torso this way now that I'm seeing her positioning. So let me actually do that real quick. But it's, again, you don't have to follow the reference exactly. So I'm going to change it just a little bit here now that I'm seeing her reference. But again, you can change it to whatever you want it to be, because the human body is pretty flexible. So I am just tilting it here, so that way I'm laying down the horizon line to be kind of higher up, like so, just to kind of give it more of an interesting, we're like looking up at the character kind of thing, you know. But I could have lowered it as well, so I could have moved the horizon line down here, in which case what we would be seeing, actually we would still be seeing, sorry, I'm going to say I put the horizon line here, but I could have moved it up here, in which case we would see the top plane here and we would see the bottom plane here of that pelvis a lot more. But you know what? I could go like this too. So again, it's really just a matter of your preference. So what I did here was, if you want to do it more anatomically correct to the pelvis, you can kind of go like this, like that, and then you can kind of line this one up. But for me, what I wanted to do was kind of bring in some of the abdominal muscles and kind of just taper that out there. All right, so just subtle changes. But good question. That's a great question, actually. Let's see here. Unreal 5 is crazy. I know. Thank you for the prime sub, Pugu, and thank you for the follow, Darachan. Sheesh. Yeah, I think finding the horizon line can be very difficult, especially when you're just drawing a human character like this that doesn't have other landmarks to really reference, right? So I would always say, instead of worrying too much about that stuff, just choose one for yourself, and then make sure that your forms are adhering. Make sure your forms are adhering to the landmarks that you established, right? As long as that holds true, you should be good. And I think personally that's all that matters. Okay. So let's go ahead and give her some boobas here. She doesn't have your typical anime waifu watermelon giganto boobas, and I think that's completely fine. It's good to practice different types. All right. I feel like I see too many animes where they make the boobas the size of basketballs, and you're just like, damn, every character is like that. You know, you're like, what? Hello? Yeah, all boobas are good boobas. Exactly. Thank you for the follow, Maru. Just like in real life. Yeah, just like in good old real life. Exactly. You guys know. But what I like to do is I like to kind of just find the curvature first. I'm going to find kind of that arch here of that volume, just to kind of give it some, give it some visual form. And again, you don't have to do any of this stuff. I'm just kind of laying these out here, and we'll kind of correct a lot of this stuff as we go. And you know what? I'm going to add the neck. I don't know why I didn't add the neck earlier, but let's go ahead and do that real quick. And then from that neck, I'll go in and add I'll kind of fix it up a little bit more. Okay. Just moving that clavicle down a bit. And then we're going to wrap some things around here. And hey, Mr. Dextrox, thanks as well. There's a big issue in anime, either flat as a board or big bahonkas. Need the middle ground. Yeah, we need diversity. And I don't think it's all animes. I think it's just like there is a type of anime, and I know you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like that one anime look where every month they come out with a new anime that looks just like this, and it always has like a really ridiculous long name. Like that one time my stepsister turned into a frog and I had to take her to another dimension. Like it's like the most randomest, longest names ever, but they always look exactly the same. No offense to those. Yeah, like isekai, your standard isekai formula that comes out every other month. And I find that they always look the same and they use the same models. And I just feel like you lose out on a lot of opportunity to stylize and change things out. But I get it. Sometimes, in that industry, you gotta churn things out quick. And so they gotta do what they gotta do. But I do feel like those animes tend to struggle with having a lot of diversity in their character body shapes and stuff. So instead, what do? They give these characters crazy hair colors, crazy hairstyles, right? Crazy outfits. So that way they can save on time by using the same models that they have in their production. Because that's kind of how it works. When you're in an industry like that and you don't have too much time to work on things, you kind of have to find shortcuts to produce your work faster. And that's one of the shortcuts, is they keep the body types the same and then just slap on clothing and hairstyles to make it different. Honestly, it's a pretty efficient way to go about doing anime productions. Okay, there you go. Much better. A little bit of taper there, to kind of make her a little bit skinnier. She's actually a lot skinnier than I think what I initially drew. And so I'm just trying to change that up a little bit. 99, it came from the Ranobe origin. Is that how it works? The longer the name, the yeah, you just know. Let's see. Dungeon crawler manga? Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I feel like if it's coming from a manga and stuff, I feel like that's maybe not as questionable. Because it has, you know, it has origins in manga, but I think there are some that are just straight up, it just sounds so generic. But they know that people will watch it. They make money from it. It's kind of like filler. straight to Crunchyroll type of anime. Again, upper body practice. Yes. So today we were focusing more specifically on the anatomy, whereas last time we did this, I was kind of just going over the general stuff and we only did one anatomy cover. But today I wanted to go over the landmarks of the body, which will actually, you know what, I'll label them right now. It's probably good for us to label them. This one. Is it a chromium? Hold on, I always forget how to spell it. Let me see if I have a name for it. I always forget how to spell a chromium. I think I'm spelling it right. Am I spelling it right? A chromium process? I'm trying to see my cheat sheets. I think so. I'm gonna leave it as is. If I'm spelling it wrong, whatever. Okay. There you go. So these are going to be the general landmarks there. So yeah, so today's stream again is more kind of focused on the specifics of the torso and stuff, and mostly the anatomy. I wanted just to kind of do make sure we did a good recap of that one today before we jump into the backside, because I'm thinking Thursday's stream is where we're going to go over the backside of the torso, because I feel like that one's a little bit harder and not as commonly addressed. Like, how many of you guys in the chat struggle with drawing characters from the backside? Put an F in the chat. Let's go ahead and see. Put an F in the chat if you've ever tried to draw characters from like the back view and you're just like, yo, what the heck? What is going on here? If so, we'll be going over that on Thursday's stream. I'll be going in depth with all the back muscles and the back anatomy, and we might even do it again on Saturday, because I do think the back muscles, again, like I think a lot of the the front side of the anatomy, easy peasy. People know about it. It's pretty common. You have the you have the pelvis, you have, or not the pelvis, sorry, you have the pectorals, you got the ab muscles. Those are super common. The back muscles are a little bit more ambiguous, because you have the lat muscles, which people probably know about. You have here the flexor dorsi, you've got the obliques on the backside, you've got the infraspinatus, the shoulder muscles, there's the teres major. There's so many other muscle groups that people are like, huh? What are all these, names that you just mentioned? So we'll go over them. Don't worry. We'll go over them on Thursday, and then on Saturday, we'll maybe do some exercises. Either that, or I'll work on my draw it on your style. I'll have to see, because I want to get the draw it on your style done as soon as possible. And yeah, I don't know why I decided to render. Like, I should have just stuck with my traditional anime style, like the anime animation style, but I don't know. I wanted to try something different this year. and I wanted to mix it up because I don't normally do personal work anyway. So I was like, okay, you know, let's go have fun. Have fun. Will there be a side or other angles? Oh, you know what? That's a good call out. Maybe that's what we'll do on Saturday. So on Saturday stream, I will go over the profile view. That's a good call out. Yeah, we'll do that on Saturday. So we'll do profile view on Saturday, as well as just maybe practicing all the other stuff that we've done. Yeah. That's a good. I always forget that people have to draw characters sideways. But yes, we will do the from the side plane. Okay. That's a good suggestion. Thank you for suggesting that. Thank you for the follow, Mr. Foxboy. And hey, yeah, my day is going well today. Right, Rainiel, and also Jazz 007, Vli, Zolini, Zekok, 000, Sleepy, Arcanist, Samurai Artist, Agil Art Studio, Soren Ru, Mr. Dextrox, Maru Art, and everybody else who's been following. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate all the support out here. If you don't have fun on a personal project, when do you? Well, I don't know. Honestly, again, I feel like I'm torturing myself with this render, but it's okay because I think, as you guys know, I don't render a lot, and I always tell you guys I don't render professionally for work, and so thus I also just don't render render personally. But I think you know, this year I want to do some more rendered pieces as well. I think it'd be fun just to mix things up, and you know, again, just I think that's one of the best ways to grow, right? Is to get yourself out of your comfort zone, try new things that maybe you weren't as comfortable doing. Despite rendering being something that I always feel like takes a very long time to do. Part of the reason why I just don't do it is because it's a huge time sink. You guys know what I'm talking about. How many of you guys in the chat have tried rendering something and, you know, you were like, okay, I'm going to spend 1 hour rendering this face. And then it's like 8 hours later and you're like, damn, put an F in the chat if you've ever done that before. You're like, huh, I was supposed to spend an hour, but here I am 3 days later and I'm still rendering. You know what the best part is? How about this? How many of you guys, let me know if this has happened to anybody here. How many of you had tried rendering something, you spent all that time rendering, and then you look back at it and you're like, yo, I made it worse. Not like that. When you spend the time to render and you ended up making it worse, oh no. That's actually the most brutal one of all. Really quick, guys, I do run ads on my stream every hour. One's gonna be running right about now, so if you do get an ad, thank you again for sticking around for the ad break. They do help keep my streams monetarily viable and allow me to do what I'm doing out here on Twitch. But if you don't want to see any ads, consider subscribing or using a Prime sub. But either way, thank you again, and I hope to see you guys after the ad break there. Appreciate you guys coming in here. So many follows today as well. I welcome everybody here. I don't know what I'm doing today that is making you guys follow, but yeah, I'm not going to question it too much. Always, that's why you avoid rendering. Yeah, rendering can give you a new perspective on the shadows and planes, though. Good to practice on occasion, even if you don't want to do it often. Yes, I agree, and I'll actually show you guys a good example of where that happened with my recent illustration. I'll show you guys. Just let me give me a second here. Rendered one picture half a year with long breaks. I better spend that time on learning and making sketches. Yeah, it's crazy because I think rendering also doesn't have to be a long process. I think the more you understand the fundamentals and the more you understand the forms that you're trying to render, the more efficient you'll become, because you'll know exactly which components to be highlighting and all of that stuff, which sometimes I feel like is part of the problem with rendering, right? It's like, I think when you try to render but you don't understand you don't fully understand the three-dimensional forms you're working with, it can sometimes feel like you're just scratching your head and you're just wondering like, yo, what the heck is going on here with the body, right? Like, so I always say, if you're ever struggling with rendering something, take a step back and maybe do some studies of that thing that you're rendering. So maybe you're rendering some anatomy, right? Or maybe you're rendering like a helmet, like a knight's armor kind of thing. In which case, okay, maybe you study some knight's armor and all of that stuff. Those hands on your current draw this in your style are almost photographic. Thank you. That actually means a lot, because I didn't have a photograph and I struggled. I struggled a lot to get it to feel right, and I'm glad that you guys like how it looks like. I'll show you guys what I mean in a second about all that stuff. By the way, give me 1 second here, because I'm trying to. I want to try to fix this one up a little bit here. So we have here the torso, right? And this fanning out here of the obliques, or of the abdominal section here. And then here, I think we're going to lower this one down to kind of match the pelvic bone. And then from there, we should actually raise this one up a little bit higher to kind of match the perspective of the perspective there of these, and then we're going to bring that up there. Okay, cool. Big rendering tip: if you use line art, lower the opacity of the line art occasionally. Really helps you see the shading rendering to work better. Yeah, there's actually so many tips that I can share with you guys just from the one that I've been doing now. But that is a good one, 100%. Alrighty. Okay, cool. So with all that being said, let me show you guys really quick what earlier we were talking about the hands and stuff and why rendering can sometimes be helpful. So let me show you really quick. Also, Molly, hey, welcome back in. So this is the for those of you who are new here, I'm actually currently working on a draw it in your style to celebrate 30K on Twitch, which hopefully we'll get soon. I think we're kind of close right now. I think we're on like 28K followers or 29K followers, but I'm working on a draw it in your style. It's been a while since I've done something like this, so I figured I'm gonna render because I don't know, insane, and I don't normally render for work, but I figured I'd do it anyways. But this is what we're working on right now. This is my draw it in your style, mostly almost done. I need to work on a few other things here, but one of the things I wanted to highlight actually was the hands, which someone earlier talked about how sometimes rendering can help you actually visualize the forms a bit better. And so one of the things that I worked on that I think really helped was when I rendered out the hands here that I drew, it actually helped me realize where some of the lighting was being hit. And kind of I adjusted that based off of the render that I was working on, right? So rendering can really help out a lot too. And it also helped me kind of realize some of the incorrections in my anatomy, which I later fixed in the rendered version. Particularly that elbow there, I kind of adjusted that position a little bit more. So these are just a few things that I do and stuff. But again, I don't normally render. Not to say that I don't know how to render. I've rendered stuff in the past. It's just so much work. Do you render above the line art? Yeah, I do. So basically what I do, I'll show you guys like a quick example. So what I'll do is I'll go on top of the line art as a new layer, and then I'll start picking out colors like this, and I'll start kind of painting that in like so. And then I'll kind of work in the line art a little bit so I can kind of bring in some dark values, kind of go like that, add in some colors, Maybe we'll add in some dark values like that, kind of like how a painter would do it. And then I slowly kind of work on those values as I kind of fill out the illustration and stuff. So I usually work on top of the line art. Yeah. But anyways, I just wanted to show that because we were talking about renders and whatnot. Thank you for the follows. Guido Bossio, Black Hellstar, and Capel. How long have I been streaming on Twitch? It's gonna be my 3-year anniversary next month, actually. So we're gonna do some fun stuff for that one, guys. Stay tuned for that, because 3-year anniversaries, you guys know me. When we party out here on Twitch, we always got to do it big. So 3 years on Twitch, it's honestly kind of insane how much time flies. I can't believe it. Okay, but let's talk a bit about the anatomy of this one really quick. I think this is interesting because she's a leaner model, and so sometimes it's harder to understand and see the anatomy. And this is why I always tell people, like, if you want to study anatomy, you know, try to avoid, at least at the beginning, try to avoid references where you can't even really see the anatomical forms. It's oftentimes better to see and reference and study muscular characters, both men and male and female, because that way you can actually find the anatomy on the body. But I'll talk about it on this on a more lean character like her, and then we'll, from there, maybe we have some time to do some rendering practice actually. So I might render these torsos out for you guys. Thank you, Keeple. Yeah, and actually, let me give a quick intro of myself here. For those of you guys who are new, it is that I try to give an intro like every hour so that people who are coming in for the first time know a little bit more about me. So here we go in 3, 2, 1. What is up, everybody? My name is Kaycem. I am a Filipino art streamer here on Twitch, and I teach everything from anatomy, gesture, perspective, to all things related to character design. And I also work full-time in the animation industry for the studio that made Castlevania. Right now, I'm prepping to work on shows like Castlevania, Legend of Korra, and Invincible as a character designer. So if you guys are interested in some free art education, you guys are looking at my dog and you want to hang out with him as well, make sure to leave a follow on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube if you're watching this later, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. All right, there you go. That's my little intro for those of you who are coming in for the first time, because I know that some of you just kind of pop in and stay here. Stay here and chill here. All right, but let's go ahead and do some of the anatomy, and then I'll color these out, I think, but yeah, we'll see. All right, so really quick, anatomy. So let me go ahead and lower the opacity of this one, and I'll go in on maybe just kind of a quick kind of color here. So again, first call outs are going to be that clavicle bone. Always important to understand the clavicle. If you guys don't know where the clavicle is, that is going to be right here. So look, Twitch, don't ban me. I'm actually here. I'll do this so I don't get banned off of Twitch for showing a little skin. But right here, okay, kind of where your neck meets your torso, if you touch yourself here, all right, educationally, of course, you will find the clavicle bone here, and it actually goes from this kind of the middle portion of your torso, the sternum, and if you touch it, follow it all the way along there, you will find that it actually connects to something called the acromion process. All right, so there you go. Try that yourself at your own time. Just, you know, don't ban me off of Twitch. Educational, yeah, it's 100% educational, guys. I'm not promoting anything else out here. Yeah, you never know with these standards out here. But anyways, this is going to be that deltoid muscle there. I'm going to simplify it out, but if you guys did want to cover the deltoids a little bit more, stay tuned, because in a future stream we will definitely be going over the deltoids. All right, so just not today, but if you wanted to, basically the deltoid muscles can be thought of as 3 shapes. You have here the large portion of the deltoid there, And then you have kind of these inner two portions, one on the front side, on the back side, so posterior and anterior. And these are just going to taper. Again, so these actually go further into the arm like so, but we're not focused on deltoids today and the arm muscles. But next up here, we have the pectoral muscles again on this side. The main difference between the male and the female really is that you're going to have more volume there for the boobas, right? So that's going to be that volume here that we drew earlier. That's going to be this one like so. And the way that I draw boobas is I find first kind of that connection here of the pectorals, of the that breast section there, and then from there I'm going to kind of round out that section kind of like a teardrop shape, maybe add a little bit of an arch right here just to kind of visualize the volume that's going on. And that's about it. That's about it for that boobas section, that breast section there. Then we're going to have that center line right here. We're going to have that sternum on the other side like so. And then we're going to go in and do the same thing on this side here with the pectorals, again, connecting from that sternum into that arm there. Boom, boom, boom. But then don't forget there's some volume here for the breasts. And so those are going to wrap around like so. I like to add, again, a little bit of an arch right here just to kind of get a visual of that. But every model is different. So not all characters are going to have gigantic watermelons and stuff. But if you guys did want to, like, okay, let's say you wanted to make the boobas are a little bit larger. Oftentimes you'll see that volume changing right here all the way down to that volume there of the breast. So you can kind of see how already we're adding in some volume, making it a little bit bigger, because again, the size is really going to change primarily overall and not just like one section of it. So you got to kind of think about the overall volume there if you wanted to do something like that, right? So there you go. And then you can keep going more and more. People want more, and you can just keep making it bigger and bigger. But again, you have to do it as an overall volume, not just certain sections, right? And hey, Rylander, welcome back in. Let's see here. But hopefully that makes sense. I'm gonna go put it back to how the model has it, and then we will continue. All right. Who are my biggest art inspirations? Oh man, that's a tough question. Let me ask that to everybody in the chat, so that way I have some time to think about it. That's a tough question because there are so many artists who I've either one had the pleasure of meeting, or artists who I grew up with when I was younger and to this day are still producing incredible work. Okay, but going back here, now we're gonna go lay out the abdominals. You're not really gonna see the serratus muscles there, but if you were kind of curious, they'd be like right here, with the obliques kind of inserting there, and then you're gonna have that flank portion right here of the obliques, and that's kind of it for this one. She has some pretty defined abdominals, which I think are cool. To find the abs, I like to go in again at that the 10th rib right here. Find that pattern there. Halfway there from the torso is going to be that first section of ribs right here. And again, she's a much leaner character, right? So we're gonna kind of give her that benefit of the doubt there for that leanness on her muscles. Here we're gonna have kind of that final set there of the ribs. Or not the ribs, sorry, the abs. And then there you go. We have there the abdominals. So that's kind of the general structure that I go with when I'm looking for anatomy. But again, not all characters are going to have super defined anatomical features. So if you are studying some anatomy for your characters, make sure you're trying to get the good references that actually showcase those things. because otherwise, you might be just struggling there. But okay. With that being said, let's go over some rendering today. So I'm going to render out these forms with you guys, so that way I get some practice today. But also, if you guys are curious about rendering and coloring and stuff, we can color these. We can color these out. Rake Lowish, Curade. I've actually met Rake, super cool guy, very nice. I've also met Lowish too. Actually, she's also very nice. I did not meet Kim Jong-yi, unfortunately. Reno Tune is cool. Yeah. There's so many artists. Yeah. I would say my favorite artists industry-wise are going to be favorite artists who I think who are amazing and who are killing it in the industry are Phil Bourassa, Chris Copeland, Chase Conley, Michael Wope, who else? LaShawn Thomas. So those are guys who I think are at the top of their game in the animation world, who I constantly look up to. Aside from them, people who I've grown up with as a kid, people like Taite Kubo or Tite Kubo, I don't know how to say his name, Ichiro Oda, who else? Takehiko Inoue, Alphonse Mucha, Kentaro Miura, yeah, Yosuke Murata. A lot of anime. I grew up with a lot of anime, so those are the people who I grew up with and was like, wow, these are cool people. But cool. Let's go ahead and do some rendering today. We'll talk a bit about that. All right. But otherwise, thank you for those of you who are watching from YouTube. That is going to be basically the torso front side anatomy. All right. If you guys want to see the rendering stuff that I'm going to be doing, come catch me on Twitch where we do this stuff live. We got bot hit so quick. Bots are up and early today.